Beyonce.
We love y'all. We love y'all. We want y'all to get it right, at least get it close to right. And obviously it's subjective. Y'all don't gotta clap at everything.
They built their empire on silence. But now that silence is breaking. The noise isn't just tabloid chatter, it's echoing through the walls of the Carter dynasty. Whispers around Beyoncé and Jay-Z have existed for years. But this time it's not about music, fashion, or fame. This time, it's about betrayal, legacy, and a buried secret that could shake their entire foundation. According to court filings, a judge has reportedly ordered Jay-Z to take a DNA test prompted by 31-year-old Ramir Satchel, a man who not only looks eerily like Jay-Z but claims to be his son from a hidden affair in the early 90s. If that DNA test confirms Ramir's claims, this won't just end with a name on a legal document. It could unravel Jay-Z's carefully crafted image. His billion-dollar...
I really wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than...
legacy, and the most guarded marriage in Hollywood. And according to insiders, Beyoncé may already be packing her crown. She knows what's coming, because when silence finally cracks, it doesn't just make noise, it brings down everything built on top of it. Behind the scenes, it seems like Beyoncé has been quietly preparing for a clean exit strategically, deliberately, and possibly for years. Real estate insiders and flight trackers have flagged unusual activity. Private flights filed under her team's aliases. Silent purchases of luxury homes in Malibu and Paris. And security shifts that moved top bodyguards away from Jay-Z's protection. Detail. One longtime member of her team even claims she's been
It's not just about me. If I gotta fight for all of us, I will, but I won't let the court systems just walk over me. I won't let Jay-Z, and I won't let no one just walk over me and tell me something because y'all just saying this. I want the truth. And if we can't go to the Supreme Courts, the regular courts, to find out the truth, what are they here for?
Yeah, all right, we'll get to the legal things that you've been through, the battles.
Training for independence like it's the Olympics. That's not just space, that's calculated detachment. And let's be real, Beyoncé doesn't do chaos. Every move is rehearsed, every narrative tightly controlled. She's not the type to gamble when there are billions at stake. 3 children in the picture, and an image empire polished to perfection. This isn't just a backup plan, it's an escape blueprint. Let's talk symbols because, with Beyoncé, symbols speak louder than words. That tiny IV tattoo on her ring finger once meant everything. Birthdays, wedding vows, fate itself. It matched DJ's, but lately, it's vanished. First blurred, then hidden, now completely gone. Her ring finger now flashes nothing but luxury fashion statements, no trace of loyalty to the past. And for a woman who crafts her image down to some quoted captions, that wasn't a coincidence. That was a quiet burial. Some called it style. But insiders, they're calling it exactly what it is. A message, loud and clear. And that message didn't come out of nowhere. Legal sources close to the Ramir Satchel case say Beyoncé's team has been building what they call a separation simulation since 2021. Offshore trusts, private leases, a second legal team, not for brand deals, but for family law. This isn't damage control. It's been strategy from the start. Beyoncé didn't get blindsided by the DNA scandal. She's been planning her exit like it's a world tour. And if you think that's cold, you don't know the cost of survival at her level. It's not personal. It's protection of her kids, her legacy, and her billion-dollar empire. Meanwhile, the man at the center of the storm, Ramir Satchel, isn't just another name in the headlines. He's been fighting this paternity battle for most of his adult life. His mother filed sworn affidavits. His guardians begged courts for a chance. But every time, they hit a wall sealed documents, closed-door deals, legal red tape thick enough to bury the truth. Jay-Z had the lawyers. Ramir had questions. And now, finally, a judge has reportedly ordered the DNA test Jay-Z avoided for decades. And Beyoncé, she's not waiting to see how he handles it. She's already gone emotionally. Ramir says he started questioning things at just 6 years old. That's when his mother told him the man raising him wasn't his biological father. She said it started with a concert one where she met Jay-Z during an autograph session. He wasn't a superstar yet, just an artist connecting with fans. But that moment, that brief interaction, sparked a story that's followed Ramir his whole life. The story Jay-Z's team allegedly tried to erase with courtroom tricks, sealed filings, and legal favors. Until now, we're hearing whispers, ones coming from former ROC Nation execs and even a paralegal involved in the New Jersey case. They allege that Jay-Z's team may have offered incentives to a legal insider to get Ramir's case dismissed. On a technicality, it hasn't hit the press yet, but the streets of the industry are buzzing. Not just because of what Ramir represents, but because of how long this was hidden. Beyoncé, sources say, knew about the rumors years ago, but only recently learned just how deep Jay-Z's legal team went to bury them. And that, insiders believe, is when she finally decided, enough. Inside music law circles, The story is spreading like wildfire. On the surface, everything still looks polished until you remember the elevator. Solange Knowles, Beyoncé's own sister, lunging at Jay-Z like a woman fed up with secrets. And if even a fraction of these whispers prove true, we're not just talking about betrayal, we're talking about a cover-up. The kind meant to protect a billion-dollar brand, not a child. And that turns Beyoncé from icon to enabler. For a woman who built her legacy on empowerment and maternal strength, silence here doesn't look strong, it looks strategic. And while the internet debates symbolism, Ramir Satchel continues to speak softly and clearly. I'm not hateful. I don't want revenge, he says. I just want to be heard. For years, he was expected to accept courtroom silence, blocked records, and media blackouts like they were answers. But now, the world is listening, and Beyoncé's image is caught in the middle. You can't sell healing and hide hurt, especially not when public appearances between her and Jay-Z have turned into performance art. Separate red carpet arrivals, stiff smiles, no touch, no warmth, and definitely no unity. At a recent LA dinner, sources say Beyoncé and Jay-Z sat at opposite ends of the table, surrounded by PR teams, barely exchanging a glance. Even when she took Blue Ivy to the Jay-Z exhibit opening in Brooklyn, she arrived in a different car, posed alone, and left before the afterparty. As one staffer whispered, she didn't look like a wife. She looked like an employee clocking out. Fans are now playing detective, dissecting every moment. The Renaissance premiere, cheek kiss dodge, the shift in stage costumes, the silence in her acceptance speeches. Not one thank you to her husband Oni, to fans, to God, and to her children. And while all this plays out in plain sight, another bomb ticks in the background. A lawsuit, tied to an infamous party, allegedly hosted by Diddy a decade ago, includes names like Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and LeBron James, not as suspects, but as witnesses. And with Jay-Z facing new legal heat on multiple fronts from the paternity case to darker LLEGATIONS buried in sealed filings, the pressure on Beyoncé to make a move is intense. Her team has already gone into damage control, brushing off divorce rumors, reposting old family photos, and dodging media requests like bullets. But behind the scenes, the pattern is familiar. Public distance, narrative control, and a rebrand that's slowly dropping Mrs. Carter in favor of Beyoncé. Knowles, one source close to her Houston circle, claims she's already met twice with a family law heavyweight who specializes in quiet exits for the rich and powerful. That's not gossip, that's a calendar entry. And if the court-ordered DNA test confirms what Ramir has been claiming since 2010, Beyoncé's exit won't just be personal, it'll be political. She's spent the last decade aligning herself with justice, with resilience, with truth, and in that spotlight, staying silent might be the one thing she can no longer afford. But let's not forget, this isn't just about a DNA test. This is about legacy. Jay-Z and Beyoncé didn't just build a marriage, they built a mythology. They were music's Bonnie and Clyde, the ultimate power couple. But if the rumors are true, if there's bribery, betrayal, and a child silenced to protect the empire, then everything they built stands on shaky ground. This isn't just personal scandal. This is brand implosion. And that fuse, it may already be burning. Because the whispers about judicial influence didn't come from gossip blogs. They came from people who were in the room. We don't know if that story will go public, but if it does, the fallout could be seismic. While Beyoncé's camp remains frozen in silence, what's brewing underneath the surface is far more dangerous than heartbreak. If this split happens, and all signs say it already is, the consequences won't be about dividing assets or who keeps the beach house. It'll be about what gets unearthed. Because this paternity battle, sparked by one persistent man, could now unravel years of sealed court filings, buried subpoenas, and names that keep popping up in all the wrong places. Names linked to federal investigations and one notorious party circuit. So who can confirm what really happened? That's part of the problem. Too many familiar faces. Too many strategic silences. Jay-Z claims he was with Beyoncé the night of King Combs' birthday. A Prof flight beta tells another story. Industry trackers traced his jet landing in Miami just days before one of Diddy's infamous freak-off weekends. Another flight log places his aircraft at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, the same launch pad for guests flying into Diddy's upstate compound, now under scrutiny for alleged misconduct. Coincidence or carefully coordinated proximity? A former ROC Nation staffer, speaking anonymously out of fear, put it plainly. Jay knew what went down at those parties. Everyone did. You didn't show up by accident. You didn't bring your own security. You used theirs. If that's true, it's more than association, it's infrastructure, it's logistics. And reportedly, Beyoncé has known about that paper trail for a while. Her silence, then, isn't just protection, it's a calculated firewall. A way to avoid the shrapnel if this all blows open. And if you think she's new to this, think again. Beyoncé has been using silence like a scalpel for years. When she lasered off her 4 tattoo, It wasn't just aesthetics. That Roman numerals symbolized birthdays, vows, and the myth of Carter unity. Erasing it was grief in reverse, a private funeral for a public marriage. And this wasn't her first quiet signal. Remember the pixie cut in 2013? Back then, it was sold as a bold style moment. But according to stylists close to her team, it was a carefully planned transformation timed precisely after a tour. That cut wasn't for fashion. It was a shedding. Like every cold pose on a warm red carpet, every ringless hand, every staged distance, when your words are watched, you let your body do the talking. And now, her body language is screaming. The visual shift has become impossible to ignore. Beyoncé's once soft image blues and pastels has evolved into golds, silvers, and diamond armor. She doesn't mention Jay-Z in speeches. She doesn't linger at events. She doesn't pretend anymore. Her silence is no longer poetic, it's strategic, and what it's been saying lately, chilling. Because when even the Queen of Control starts cutting ties in plain sight, you know the House of Cards isn't just trembling, it's collapsing. The Renaissance era marked more than just glitter and glamour, it marked a woman stepping out of the myth. Beyoncé, once half of music's most untouchable duo, now moves like a solo act, intentional, detached, and dangerously quiet. Her public appearances have taken on a new shape, less love story, more rebirth. The vows burned, the smiles choreographed. This isn't soft detachment. This is Beyoncé's surgical and strategy. Already halfway out the door and on her own terms. Then there's Rimmer, the name behind the whispers. The man at the center of the storm. All he says he ever wanted was truth. But according to court records and multiple statements to the press, he wasn't just blocked, he was threatened. Sources familiar with the case say Rimmer received several anonymous calls warning him to back off. 2 of those calls, reportedly, were traced to burner numbers linked to a major Los Angeles PR firm, the same one Beyoncé uses for crisis control. Let's be clear, Rimmer's not asking for money. He's not chasing fame. He just wants answers. It's not about revenge, he said. It's just the truth. But when truth gets this hard to reach in courtrooms, you have to ask what's being buried. Why would Beyoncé's team be circling a paternity case if she had no stake in it? Why does her name reportedly appear in legal metadata tied to internal communications? According to one former paralegal, we weren't even allowed to mention her in emails. That's not distance. That's management. And that management goes deep. Legal watchdogs combing through the filings noticed something strange. Missing timestamps, unfiled hearings, sealed affidavits. Even court clerks in New Jersey were reassigned. One judge named in Rimmer's filings quietly retired, with no press, no reason, and a side deal tied to ROC Nation. This isn't just one favor. This is an entire structure machine built to protect not just Jay-Z, but to ensure Beyoncé never has to face what she might have known all along. Rimmer has no criminal history. He's not unhinged, he just wants closure. But with Jay-Z refusing to speak in courts seemingly built to shut him out, it's clear something bigger is at play. Because this goes beyond whether Jay-Z is the father, the question now is, was a child silenced to preserve an empire? His mother, Wanda, was reportedly 16 at the time. Jay-Z, in his early 20s. If that relationship happened in a state with a 17-year-old age of consent, this isn't just paternity. This could trigger criminal exposure. And now, we ask the harder question. If Beyoncé knew, if she knew for years that her husband's darkest secret may involve statutory misconduct and actively helped keep it buried, what does that mean for everything her brand stands for? Feminism, generational healing, empowerment. Can those words coexist with quiet complicity? Is this public uncoupling an act of moral clarity, or a smoke bomb before the detonation? Because court orders can be unsealed, depositions can leak, and if that DNA test hits, the whole Carter kingdom shakes. This isn't just about a headline, it's a legal domino effect. If the truth gets confirmed, expect more lawsuits, reopened cases, even subpoenaed financial records. The kind of receipts that don't just shake marriages, they dismantle dynasties. Internal memos, crisis manager emails, and maybe, just maybe, the final proof that this was never about a family, it was about a brand. A brand so protected it was willing to sacrifice the truth for survival. But once the seal breaks, there's no going back. So now we turn it to you. What happens if the DNA test proves Rimmer is telling the truth? What if that truth uncovers not just betrayal, but a crime? And what if Beyoncé, queen of image, queen of control, knew all along and helped hide it beneath award show speeches, perfume launches, and press tours? Is she walking away from a scandal or quietly slipping out before it swallows her too? Let us know in the comments below, because this story, it's only just begun. And if the Carters fall, it won't be from outside, it'll be from within. Watch the throne.